Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Today we will be analyzing A Bird Came Down the Walk by Emily Dickinson. We will first be reading, then analyzing it stanza by stanza. Then I will be sharing a few points with you in an overview of the poem. Let's get started with the reading. A bird came down the walk. He did not know I saw. He bit an angleworm in halves and ate the fellow raw. And then he drank a dew from a convenient grass, and then hopped sidewise to the wall to let the beetle pass. He glanced with rapid eyes that hurried all abroad. They looked like frightened beads, I thought. He stirred his velvet head, like one in danger, cautious. I offered him a crumb, and he unrolled his feathers and rode him softer home. Then oars divide the ocean, two silver for a seam, or butterflies, off banks of noon, leap, plashless as they swim. Now to analyze the poem, A bird came down the walk. The first thing that comes to mind when one is presented with the imagery of bird is freedom. Came down could be another way of saying birth, while walk could mean the walk of life. Allowing us to theorize, Dickinson is talking about the freedom man is bestowed with as he enters the world and starts his walk. He did not know I saw. Over here you see the persona observing from afar, perhaps imitating a divine spirit. Not only that, it could also show that you are never alone. Someone is always looking at each and every move of yours without your knowing, so you need to be careful about what you do. He bit an angleworm in halves. The biting imagery makes one relate the man to a predator, asserting dominance through predatory attributes. Hence, this line may be an instance of social commentary, Dickinson telling us that man suppresses one in order to climb the social ladder. And ate the fellow raw. The noun fellow gives the idea that this was a friendly person, perhaps the symbolized person's own friend, who was an impediment in his way, and in order to climb the social ladder, he betrayed the fellow's trust. So, building upon the biting imagery, this line shows the inhumane and animalistic nature of man. This line also reminds one of the descriptions of the biblical scene in which God made man and the angels said that man will cause bloodshed. And then he drank a dew. Now the question arises, what is a dew? The word dew is not only used with the preposition a, leading me to research upon this only to come across the phrase drenched with the dew of heaven, seen in Judges 6:36-40. This may indicate that the dew is a blessing man makes use of, and it continues with, from a convenient grass, perhaps indicating the grass is the opportunity God presents man with. Just previously we saw the bird eating an angleworm. Now we see it drinking a dew, maybe reflecting that man does not let anything good slide. He is an opportunist, for he always grabs and exploits any opportunity coming his way, and feels it is a blessing. And then hopped sidewise to the wall to let a beetle pass. Through the bird's encounter with the beetle, we see different dimensions of man, for we can contrast this to when he ate the worm, referred to it as fellow. Over here, the persona may be highlighting the concept of selective empathy. The man sympathizes and empathizes with only certain people and not with others, showing his hypocrisy. Additionally, being pushed to the wall brings the concept of compromising for another's benefit. I would just like to take a few seconds of yours and draw your attention towards something else for a moment. I started writing a book in the summer of 2020 and would highly appreciate it if you could take out some time and check it out. It would mean a lot to me. The link to the audiobook is in the description. Back to the poem. He glanced with rapid eyes. The way the bird's eyes move gives a sense of fright and vulnerability, which is strange, since contrasting to the worm and beetle, the bird is quite large in size, yet he has his fears and insecurities. Through the verb glanced, you see the bird is trying not to draw attention, just like how a person would glance and try to get the upper hand, by making the other believe he is unaware of the other's observation, but is very much aware. that hurried all abroad. He is trying to analyze the surroundings, perceiving the issues that need to be addressed, reinforcing the improvise, adapt, and overcome strategy used by animals and humans. But what is he afraid of? We know the persona is watching him, perhaps showing us she is superior as she remains unobserved while observing every move of his. They looked like frightened beads, I thought. He stirred his velvet head. The words beads and velvet relate to lavishness and extravagance, bringing forth the bird as a supreme creature favored by the divine power. Perhaps that's why the persona approaches the bird and not the other things. Furthermore, the verb stirred shows the consciousness of the bird as it tries to capture every detail. Before moving to the next stanza, I would leave you with a question. Feel free to theorize and debate in the comments. In the third line, the persona mentions, I thought. We already know that all that she writes is what she sees and thinks, but why did she specify this time that she thought? Like one in danger, cautious, I offered him a crumb. We finally see the persona interacting with the bird, and she is quite hesitant, seen through the first line of the stanza. The reason for this may be the unpredictable nature of man that makes one fear how he will react. Crumbs are usually little and many. You usually do not just see one crumb. So the idea of little by little things accumulating comes up, so you could theorize the next point accordingly. This crumb may be the persona's way of helping him, and to continue seeing the persona as a divine spirit, the crumb may be the gift of worship given by God which man rejects. He unrolled his feathers. This line could be symbolic of man's abandoning of duties and responsibilities as he has been given extra work, and rode himself for home. Home could symbolize heaven, and heaven in this case could be man's freedom from religious obligations. Moving on to the verb rode, one's journey at sea is always accompanied by uncertainty. So as man lets go of these religious obligations, he may live a peaceful, duty-free life, showed by the adjective softer, but will live a tortured existence. Then oars divide the ocean. Over here, the ocean could symbolize the world created by God, while the oars could mean norms, traditions, religions, races that live in the world. 2 silver for a seam. Elaborating on the previous point, these divisions made by too prominent go unnoticed, hence racism and other sorts of discriminations prevail. These differences are always highlighted in every society. Or butterflies of banks of noon. A bank could be symbolic of stability, and noon could be the high time of life. So this could be the time for metamorphosis, although it doesn't really make sense for a bird to turn into a butterfly. Let's just go with it. Coming on to the butterflies. Butterflies are beautiful, fragile creatures, and in our case, the fragility could show that a person keeps evolving with the change of circumstances. Moreover, since the imagery is so beautiful, we could theorize that man is a bird in the world and a butterfly when going to heaven, that the body is being left behind and the soul is entering the next life. Leap plashless as they swim. The verb used is not a walk, not a flight, but a swim, perhaps telling us it is an endless journey. Lastly, the idea of grace is further emphasized by the adjective plashless. We are done with the stanza by stanza analysis, so let's jump to the other points I came up with. In the poem, you see all that is described seems very natural, but at the same time it has an underlying sinister tone due to the unconventional way of describing the movements of the bird. The bird's flight is shown in a majestic manner, perhaps showing that you cannot judge someone in an alien place where they are most vulnerable. The poem may show the different sides of the bird. The bird seems to be free and fearless in the air and frightened when it's on the ground. Now, if you want to look at it from a feminist's point of view, since liberals love that, you could say that the bird is symbolic of patriarchy. A man gets to choose in society. He is presented with the options of the butterfly, worm, and beetle and chooses. One last thing. This could be very silly, but it's something I noticed and it might be worth sharing. The title of the poem, which is the first line, has the starting letters of each word A, B, C, D, T, W. So you see how initially it's exactly how it's supposed to be, but later it changes completely? Perhaps showing that initially we are all walking on the path that we are supposed to, but are corrupted and do not follow the right path anymore. This is it for the analysis. I will once again ask you to check out the chapters of the audiobook I'm uploading. It would mean a lot to me. That's it for this video. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.